I like Tameka as a therapist because I think that she's a good listener. I think that she really does care.
I know that when I put a patient in to see Tameka, they will be well taken care of.
Her advice and her passion for helping people truly gain mental and physical peace is commendable and proven because it's worked for me.
One of the things I learned from Tameka's book is to make a gratitude list every day. Get up every day, make a list of things I'm grateful for.
So even if you don't have a chance to sit down and actually talk to Tameka Lancaster, you really, in a sense, are talking to her and listening to her and hearing her words when you read those books.
Of course, it's Tameka's writing, but it's just her speaking, through literature, through a book, which that really has allowed us to be better people and to identify things that we didn't probably pay attention to at first.
Tameka has some excellent examples of ways to specifically change how we deal with the people around us.
The question has been asked many times, who am I? How did I get here? And what is my motivation for wanting to help people? My name is Tameka Lancaster. I'm an author and a mental health professional. And what I normally tell people when they ask me those questions, I tell them that I think it's just something I've been put here to do. One of the things that I absolutely hate to hear people say is that mental health, oh, that's for crazy people. What's crazy? I mean, if you think about it, there's something wrong with all of us. All of us have our battles that we face. All of us have our little green monsters that we have to overcome. Mental health therapy and or counseling is for people who need help. It's not always about dropping off problems. Sometimes it's about learning how to prevent problems, learning how to not allow life to get the best of you. So no, it's not just for crazy people, it's for anybody who needs help. And people need help with various things. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're crazy. So we can get past thinking that mental health is for crazy people. I think that we will be better able and much more willing to get the help that we need when we need it.
I am a veteran of the OIF, Operation Iraqi Freedom. I was in Iraq from 2004 to 2005. And my experience and others that I have worked with and encountered has been very significant related to anxiety. And I think it's because there are certain things that happen in combat that you directly connect when you come back home. So for example, for me, there was the sound of an air horn, and the air horn sound was used when we were being attacked. So when mortar rounds were coming in and the enemy was attacking us, there would be air horns going off to let us know we need to take cover, get to a bunker, or just get low, depending on where you were. So now I have to be mindful of events that I go to where those things are common, like basketball games or football games or graduations, because when I hear that horn, it triggers something in me that is very different.
There are so many people out there who are suffering from anxiety or depression, and they won't get the help that they need because of their pride, because of their ego. But I guess I'm here to tell people that you want to live life happy, joyous, and free. You don't want to go throughout life just miserable and not as happy as you could be. So part of what my mission is to help people to be the best them that they could be, to help people to live a life that's very happy, joyous, and free.
For those of us that have come back and we can function freely, it's very hard to, when you see somebody else who is struggling significantly with depression and anxiety, and they can't function and they can't work, their families are in disarray, and you almost feel, I think it's called survivor guilt. You almost feel guilty about going and asking because you see that your situation is a whole lot better than theirs, and so you tend to not want to ask for help and just kind of cope with things on your own.
Most environments that I go in, I try to bring things that would help people to grow. I don't like to handicap people, and what I really would love to do is have people as independent or interdependent as I can get them. I know there are times in life where we will have to depend on someone, but it's all about a balance. And a lot of who I am is I love balance. I really, really love balance. And if things are out of balance, that's when we tend to have those emotional problems that we sometimes are a little bit afraid to get help with.
I'm a professional counselor. I'm also a licensed marriage and family therapist. I've been involved in trying to help people change their lives for over 2 decades. In the course of that, I've gotten to know Tameka. who also is involved in the change process and trying to help other people to change their lives to be better people.
What pleases me the most about what I do is seeing someone actually just make changes, positive changes. That's a very good feeling for me, just to see that someone has actually turned their life around and are actually just a happy person. To see someone who may come in the door and they're full of self-pity, and then by the time they leave, or 6 months or so of treatment, they are at a better place. At a better place meaning that they are more, I don't know, they're just more just happy and they're joyous.
Several years ago, the National Institutes of Health released a report that claimed that anxiety was going to be the #1 health threat in the United States in this decade. Based upon the clients that I'm seeing, that is definitely the truth. Anxiety is something that anywhere from 20 to 30% of the population may be experiencing. It is about twice as prevalent as what depression is.
Anxiety will affect you physically. Depression will affect you physically. Anything that stirs negative emotions, on a consistent basis will affect your physical well-being. You want to learn how to get rid of those negative emotions as soon as you can in the best ways possible, because if you don't, it's going to tear your physical body down.
Anxiety is something that, if untreated, actually can kill you. Anxiety affects the body. Anxiety causes different organs in the body to break down. Anxiety is a killer.
I like Tameka as a therapist because I think that she's a good listener. I think that she really does care. I think one of the biggest things that make a therapist effective is the good listening skills. I think a good therapist needs to be a good listener. I think they need to be empathetic, not sympathetic per se, but empathetic, so that they can understand the pain that the client is going through. I think that they need to be able to communicate fairly clearly with the clients what are the goals and the end result for therapy that they're looking at, so that they can begin to work toward it.
I know that when I put a patient in to see Tameka, they will be well taken care of, and I never hesitate about putting someone in with her because I know that they will be well taken care of, and I am all about that.
I had a tour to Iraq where I was a combat lifesaver and a 50 cal gunner, and I lost a commander and several other battle buddies that was pretty close to me.
I know that she cares a lot about how she treats patients, and I get a lot of response back from the patients that I even sometimes will have a patient call me up and thank me for putting them with her, and that makes me really feel great.
There were times where I questioned what to do, and she was always the first person that I would think to call to say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with, or if I knew somebody else that was struggling with something. And I think that speaks to her credibility in the advice that she always gives and the type of compassion that she has towards making sure an individual holistically is better.
I think she's absolutely excellent.
So what is it about Tameka Lancaster's works that I really enjoy? I would have to say that it's not only just the books, but it's actually interacting with Tameka herself, being able to listen to her, discuss her thoughts and ideas on how to handle different situations. She translates that very well in her writing. So even though you may not have the chance to sit down and actually talk with her, by reading the books, you're pretty much talking with her.
Okay, one of Tameka's books specifically addresses the problems in the workplace. I really enjoyed reading through the different real-life examples of people struggling with problems of trying to get along with other people in the workplace. In working with people over more than 2 decades of counseling, I've discovered that the #1 characteristic of a workplace that determines whether or not a person actually enjoys their work is not the pay, and it's not even the work they get to do. It's the people they have to work with.
I was going through some things at work, and you know, there was a chapter in there, I can't remember the name of the chapter now, but it went through dealing with things that are people in your work environment. every now and then I have a tendency to kind of lose my temper. I try to control it, but I felt like I was being treated unfairly, and but I was in a situation where I felt like I could not afford to say things that I wanted to say, and in my situation, I needed to hang on to my employment, so I just calmed down, listened to what she had to say, you know, and I felt like, gosh, she's young, but she knows what she's talking about. So I think she helped me in this situation.
It's so important that we stay in today, because when we don't stay in today, what happens is if we start thinking about tomorrow, then we'll get very worried. And if we think about yesterday, we may fall into self-pity or start feeling those negative emotions like sadness and or guilt. But what you want to do is just stay in today. If we can just stay in today and let tomorrow take care of itself, realize that yesterday is gone and we will not get it back, and learn self-forgiveness as it relates to some of the things that happened yesterday.
Now I kind of go with the flow. You know what I mean? I just do my job, I leave it at the door, and I go home and try to enjoy that life. And it's helped me a lot.
We teach people coping skills. When we talk about coping skills, those are the things that will help you do just that, cope with some of the things, some of the challenges that occur in life. Most of the time when people are having a hard time and they're struggling with something, at that point they are allowing whatever it is that they're dealing with to control and or manage them. But what you want to do, you want to learn ways to manage whatever's going on instead of allowing it to take control over you. So when people come to therapy, it's all about teaching people those coping skills to help them manage life and to have a much more pleasant and much more positive outlook.
In Tameka's books, the problems of anxiety are addressed from the standpoint of how it can help steal your own joy. That's one of the things that I like about her books, is practical information on how somebody can enjoy the life that they're living. One of the things that I like to work with my clients on is learning how to stop the cycle of worry, learning how to live in the moment, learning how to experience the joy that they have around them and to see it rather than dilute it with the worry of what might possibly happen tomorrow or next week or next year. That's why people need help, is to learn. Once they develop these bad habits, they seldom break them on their own. They need guidance. And Tameka's books, I believe, can help guide.
I love cliches, I love analogies, and I think you will learn that about me as you continue to watch the video. But there's something that I heard that I think is very, very, very worthy of paying attention to. And what that is that I heard that challenges are for the warrior and problems are for the warrior. So what we do in therapy, we teach people how to be that warrior and take on their challenges in life as though they are a warrior, to know how to fight, to equip them with the tools to get them to be able to fight off and or manage what's going on with them.
I think that when we talk about anxiety and depression and how it begins to impact on the patient, you have to look at how disabling the condition is. Obviously, everybody has some anxiety on a day-to-day basis. You have anxiety when you drive down the freeway. You have anxiety when you interview for your first job, or simple things like that. And you get depressed when somebody you know is in pain, or somebody you know passed away, or something catastrophic happened like that. But what we're talking about, when we see patients that are requiring help, is when it begins to cause impairment in other parts of their life, like work, relationship, somebody who's so anxious that they can't leave the house. That's obviously much more severe and much different than the normal situational anxiety or depression that you may experience. Those are the people that come in to see us, and we can explain to them how disabling all this is and the kind of treatment that we can provide for them so that they can regain the level of functioning they had before and be able to have a normal life.